Thanks for joining me for another review. This one is for the highly anticipated Storm Phaze 3. I've had a lot of success over the last year with my latest Phaze 2, so I just copy-pasted the layout, which is actually pretty weak. It's 5 1/4 pin to PAP with a 4 3/4 pin buffer. PSA to PAP doesn't matter on symmetrics, but it's 3 3/4 if you're curious. This puts the pin almost right underneath my bridge, shading a little bit more towards the ring finger side. This core is so rolling and continuous that despite the weakish numbers, it still does what it does, it just doesn't do it as strongly. And obviously the final result is still plenty strong for me. I've said before I don't need help out of a layout to make the ball hook, and this is Exhibit Z. The first word for this ball is just wow. It looks great, it smells great, the grapevine scent is like a stronger high road pearl, and on the lane it's everything you hoped for. The core and cover both individually have very recognizable features. It's both unmistakably Phaze 2 and Intense Fire at the same time. You can see Phaze 2 in the overall motion and shape, but you can see Intense Fire in the super clean and decisive reaction. This is the second time we've seen R3S hybrid stateside. It was of course on the Intense Fire, but it's a cover I'm really familiar with and a huge fan of. I have 2 Fires and a Virtual Tour exclusive, which is an overseas ball, and the cover characteristics are stark and obvious to me. It's very clean up front, but the amount of boards it covers can be pretty shocking given how easily the ball glides down the lane. When it hits friction, it goes, but it doesn't burn energy and almost seems to make the ball accelerate on the back end. You can see flashes of R2S, but with R3S being a stronger formula, it handles oil better so the friction response doesn't force you left just to have it wiggle down lane because it's not getting enough traction. It has R2S level consistency in a stronger package across the board. As you can see as I move deeper, the Phaze 3 has a stunning amount of traction and drive here. It's a rare day when I can get in this far on a fresh shot and get wheels like this. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know that even boomy stuff isn't that boomy here, and stuff usually gets softer when I get in this far, but I might as well be a Gage right now. Speaking of Gage, let's head that direction. Like I've said in plenty of videos before, there's no shortage of shape here. Stuff is just gonna fly. My ProMotion looks like an astrophysics here. The usual problem is finding the pocket and carrying consistently. It's almost sportish because of how strong the back ends are. You have to move inside to get length, but there's a point where you hit a cliff and the ball reaction starts getting a little late and sharp, so it can be a rough balance both getting length and an effective shape down lane without ringing 10s or sneaking high for 4s. Ball reaction always looks good, but that doesn't mean the pins are always going down. The Phaze 3 solves that problem for me. Obviously, it's too much ball from straighter. I had to do a lot of work just to get any shots even this far right. Once I started moving left, though, it opened up. The super clean cover just shoots the ball through the fronts, and it's continuous enough down lane that I can go ahead and still hit it to make it shape correctly, and maybe the biggest thing about it is that I can throw it further away from the pocket than literally anything else I use here to help with length without it standing up on the friction when it gets there. If I throw anything else this wide or with this kind of speed just straight right, it's either not going to make it back or just burn up trying to overcome the angle and the sharp friction. This ball almost seems to like it more the crazier the angles get. This core cover combo is just a perfect match in my mind, and honestly I do match up with both really well because they play to my strengths. If I get a windy, continuous core like Velocity inside of a super responsive cover like R3S Hybrid, that turns a lot of shots into cake for me. This cover seems to go an extra couple feet longer than you'd expect. It sits there for just a half second and then it takes off. What the ball is doing from the angles I'm playing is just silly. I mean, the revving up of the core and the drive from this steep of a ball path after getting such easy length is amazing. It's another one of those I'd show you more misses if I had them situations. But once I got left a third arrow, it was autopilot. Nearly everything was 10 back. We'll see how I feel about it in a couple months, of course, but sometimes you just know, and I knew before I put holes in it. It's a combination of my favorite cover and favorite core, and this time the bowling math actually does work out perfectly. The Phaze 3 releases on December 13th, so put it on your Christmas list. Thanks for watching.